Apologies in advance. They're doing construction outside of my building, so there's not really much I can do to escape that noise because they're working directly on the walls, and I'm pretty sure they're working on the walls like literally just outside of my apartment. Thank God I'm moving soon. But anyways, for those of you who have not seen it yet, I'm pretty sure most of you already have, we got a trailer for more information coming up with the DLC, specifically focusing on Part 2, the Indigo Disc. We got the revelation that more Pokemon starters are coming back, such as Totodile, Chikorita, the Unova trio, Snivy. Superior will be really cool to see how it'll play in the competitive scene with a terrestrialization format, especially contrary Leaf Storm shenanigans. That'll be really cool. But anyways, back to my main train of thought. We got more information right there. We got the starters. We also got the revelation that Smeargle is coming back, which is going to be wonderful. And then we got some new moves as well as some more information. It looks like we potentially got a signature move for both the Paradox Raikou, which is named Raging Bolt, as well as Paradox Cobalion, which is named Iron Crown. And the reason why I say potential signature moves is because I'm also on the fence. Maybe one of these moves might actually be a tutor move. It could be a red herring, but if it's a signature move, still going to be awesome as well. So I thought it'd be fun to talk about that. So let's jump on into some of the footage there. So the first of the new moves that we got revealed during this trailer here is a psychic type attack called Psychic Noise. So basically it does a little bit of damage to the target while also applying the heal block status to the target. Now, this is a nice thing to see come back. Heal block hasn't been in the game for quite some time, and basically for 5 turns it locks the target out of healing. Now, the original move heal block was just a straight up status move that locked them out of healing for 5 turns. It's nice to see this improvement because now we get to do a little bit of chip damage, which means we break any potential focus sashes, and this will shift up a few things because stall Pokemon like to, drag it out. They like to heal. So if you hit them with a Psychic Noise, well, now they can't heal. That can help chip them down pretty good. Now, they can potentially still live the 5 turns, but you just hit them again. That's all it is. Now, this could be pretty good, all things considered, because it could force stall teams to look into going for Tera Dark, which means then you can just use fairy type attacks and fighting type attacks to get around that. And it's kind of nice to showcase Gardevoir using Psychic Noise because you don't really see Gardevoir a whole lot, but Gardevoir does get access to fairy type attacks, so you could synergize it like that. We see the Dondozo and the Gardevoir facing off in a single battle format. We know Dondozo doesn't have the greatest special defense, and because this is a single battle format, we already know right off the top of our head that Dondozo doesn't have the commander boost from Tatsugiri, so there's no +2 into its special defense. So when we watch it right here, we see that Gardevoir hits it with Psychic Noise, and it's a little bit over half to begin with. It goes down to about a quarter, and it prevents Dondozo from using Rest. Now, we can speculate a little bit from Gardevoir's power right here with the Psychic Noise. Psychic Noise is probably going to be on the lower end of the damaging scale right here. Maybe it's a base 60, base 70 Psychic type attack right there. I can see that being relatively fair since it's preventing the target from being able to heal. And on top of that, Dondozo does have a huge HP stat. So for all we know, this could be a bulky, specially defensive Dondozo. So all things considered, I'm going to put the prediction out there at maybe base 60, base 70 special power, or rather base power for Psychic Noise. And we'll see what happens when it comes out. Our second move here is a fighting type attack, or at least it looks like a fighting type attack called Upper Hand. So basically this is a priority move that out-prioritizes other priority moves. So this could be pretty cool. We see that the Scizor is going to go for the Bullet Punch, and Hariyama is going to go for the Upper Hand. So Scizor clicks in the Bullet Punch, Hariyama says nope, should have had a V8, and just hits him there, and it makes Scizor flinch. Now, one thing that I am kind of curious about with Upper Hand, though, is we do see that Hariyama, which is naturally slower than Scizor, go before it with Upper Hand. It makes Scizor flinch. Is Upper Hand going to work ahead of priority status moves like Helping Hand. If it does, that's going to be huge because that can disrupt them. Also, another thing with Upper Hand, to my understanding, I think it came out on the Japanese website, was that Upper Hand will make the target flinch without fail. Now, obviously, you get around that with a Covert Cloak, but the nice thing here with Upper Hand is it can shut down priority moves. A big thing that can be a little bit of a problem is Chain Pow has Sucker Punch. Ice Spinner can destroy Psychic Terrain, so this is another means of getting around priority moves without having to rely on necessarily Psychic Terrain or Quick Guard. And you know what? If you can pull that off and you hit that Chain Pow before it can go for a Sucker Punch, especially since this is a fighting type attack, you can not only make it flinch, but you can deal heavy damage so long as it doesn't go Tera Ghost. Now, the next thing that we're going to jump into is one of the potential signature moves or move tutor. We don't know for sure, at least I don't think we know for sure, and it's for Raging Bolt. So this is going to be the attack Thunderclap, so we'll just jump into that. Also, I do want to point out too that this thing is Electric Dragon, which is really cool. It looks like it's based off of like a Brontosaurus, which is like the long-necked dinosaurs. So if Suicune got like this Velociraptor looking thing and Raikou got a Brontosaurus, what's Entei getting? I've seen some fan art on Twitter where it looks like a Triceratops, but I kind of want to see it look like a Stegosaur, because you know, with the spikes on the back of Entei, that could look like a Stegosaur. But anyways, it looks like they're going to have part dragon as well as their original typing, so Fire Dragon for a potential Entei paradox will be really cool. Electric Dragon on Raging Bolt is going to be nice. We've seen that type with Dracozolt, which I almost wanted to call it Stegobird because, you know, that is what it is. But anyways, we've seen it on Dracozolt, we've seen it on Zekrom, we've seen it on Miraidon. This is going to be a fun type to play around with once Raging Bolt is live as well. And I kind of wonder if we'll get another 5-star raid event with Raging Bolt and Iron Crown, similar to what we did with Walking Wake and Iron Leaves. And that would be really nice if we got those a little bit in advance too. And then that way we could try to find out its stats, because we currently don't know those either. Anyways, let's get back into the move. So Thunderclap. It is basically an electric type Sucker Punch. So here's the thing with Thunderclap. It looks like it's Sucker Punch, but for the electric type. This can be huge. Iron Bundle is really fast, and it also doesn't have the greatest special defense. If you're not holding a Focus Sash on it, you're basically going to be able to pick up Iron Bundle KOs left, right, and center with this, which is going to be really handy. If this is a move tutor, though, for electric types, and this is just a red herring for this being a signature move, this can be amazing on other electric types, especially anything that is trying to oppose a Kyogre in a restricted format. Now, if it's locked only to Raging Bolt, then you know what? Fair enough. That's okay. It increases Raging Bolt stocks right there if this is a signature move. But if it's a move tutor, the electric type just gained a huge buff, and this is a great way of striking back at Kyogres, because one, it would force Kyogre to lose power off of Water Spout, especially if you're running Tailwind and Choice Scarf shenanigans right there on a rain team. If you take a little bit of damage into Kyogre, then your Water Spout's not going to be quite as strong. Also, on top of that, this might force Kyogres to potentially consider running Tera Ground to get around that. And if they do, great, you just burn their Tera if you're not running a ground type Kyogre yourself, and you can get the jump on them speed wise, and they Tera into a ground type thinking they're going to take a Thunderclap from Raging Bolt, and you actually get faster than them. Like, say maybe they're a modest Kyogre, or you're a timid Kyogre, not Myogre. I'm thinking of Milotic, but anyways, let's get back on track. If they are a modest Kyogre and you're running timid, and say maybe you've got your Tailwind first, or you have a Choice Scarf and they burn Tera Ground because they're scared of a Thunderclap on your Raging Bolt next to your own Kyogre, and you just get the speed drop on them, or you just naturally outspeed them and you hit them with Water Spout, well, they're going to take super effective damage and potentially get KO'd that way. That was a lot to get out of me, but hey, that's the big thing that I'm thinking. This might force Kyogres to consider running Tera Ground, and then you can potentially win the Kyogre matchup that way with either a Water Spout of your own or an Ice type attack if you have an Ice type attacker. The possibility is out there, especially too if this is a tutor move and not an exclusive move to Raging Bolt. You could mess with Kyogre teams big time. All right, so we're getting into the next one, and it is Iron Crown. We get the reveal for Iron Crown's typing, and it is Steel Psychic. So it looks like the Musketeer trio is going to be part Psychic instead of fighting, and then have their other typing. So Iron Leaves is Grass Psychic. Iron Crown here is Steel Psychic, which means whatever Tachyon gets, it's probably going to be Rock Psychic. So with Iron Crown here, we have the move Tachyon Cutter. So the opponent here leads Mimikyu, and Tachyon Cutter is basically a multi-striking move similar to Melmetal's Double Iron Bash. We see it break through the disguise, and then we pick it off with that. So Tachyon Cutter can be really handy for getting rid of things that have focus sashes. Again, Sheen Pow, Fluttermane, your days could be potentially numbered if you're running Tera Fairy and not a focus sash, or if you are running a focus sash, now your days are numbered again, because it looks like it's a steel type attack. It was super effective damage against Mimikyu, so
fairies beware.
Especially fairies holding focus sashes. You might want to throw up a substitute now to try to outlive that. Hey, Shentail might go up too. Just food for thought. We might see some more play around substitute to try to make sure that the frailer Pokemon, especially Fluttermane and Sheen Pow, can survive. We might see a little bit more Follow Me action or Rage Powder, obviously, to try to keep things from not dying to Tachyon Cutter. So that is definitely a thing. As far as base power goes, I wonder if it's going to be something like maybe base 50 per hit. It's a 2-hitting move, so base 50, you would be looking at 75 after stab, and then after, just before applying stab, you'd be looking at a base 100 total, so 150. That could be really strong, especially if this isn't getting a power boost from having electric terrain up. If it's just raw base 50, I think that's fair. I mean, I'm pretty sure Melmetal's Double Iron Bash is base 60 per hit, so that's huge. So a base 50 wouldn't be that far off, or it could be like Dual Chop, which is a base 40. Could be something like that. And then the other thing too, because that was the last of the 4 moves, we also got one more reveal with this trailer as well that we're just going to jump into really quick. We got this thing. So basically, we see all of the different Tera types. We got the Omni Tera, it looks like. Now, to my understanding, we don't have a full understanding about what this does, if it's not specifically limited to Terapagos just quite yet, because again, this is part 2 of the DLC. It basically shows a ring of all the different Tera icons around a crown, and then like the big generic Tera icon that's used for Pokemon that are caught in Scarlet and Violet. Now, if this is for Terapagos, this is probably the Terastal form for it. When you Terastalize it, it goes into what we've seen as far as the current image goes, where it's got the shell of all the different icons on it. If this is applicable to all Pokemon, what might happen, I don't know for sure, and I'm just going to kind of throw this out into the ballpark here. What we might see is something similar to in Legends Arceus, when you have the I'm trying to remember the name of the plate, but basically once you finish Legends Arceus and you catch it, you have all the plate items, and you get the plate that gives you the ability to make Judgment always super effective against whatever it's using. It could be something like that, where whatever you're using with Tera Blast becomes super effective, or whatever you're using Tera Blast on, it might become super effective against that, but you might not necessarily gain all of the properties of all the types. What it might be is you become weaker to most types as well. You might, this might be one great big elaborate Tera normal, where you're basically just weak to everything, but then like neutral unless you're using Tera Blast. It could be something like that, but I don't know. I'm just spitballing. I could be completely off base here, but it looks pretty. There's that. It looks pretty. So anyways, guys, that is the majority of what I wanted to talk about there as far as the new moves and this new Super Tera is let me know what you think about it down in the comments below, and I'll see you there.
Fairies beware.